Welcome back. Hi.
Hi, good morning.
Morning, sis. You ready to take the next one?
Yes,
Okay.
yes. We're on lesson 259,
Right.
which is let me remember that there is no sin.
Whoa.
Let me remember that there is no sin.
And can we also substitute that word sin for the thought of separation? Let me remember that there is no separation.
Oh, yeah, that's powerful.
Yeah.
Let me remember there is no separation.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Sin is the only thought that makes the goal of God seem unattainable. I'm going to read it again.
Mm-hmm.
Sin is the only thought that makes the goal of God seem unattainable. That could be also read as separation
Mm-hmm.
is the only thought or belief that makes the goal of God seem unattainable.
Right. Yes.
What else could blind us to the obvious and make the strange and the distorted seem more clear than God and our beloved brothers and sisters? What else but sin engenders our attacks? What else but sin could be the source of guilt, demanding punishment and suffering? And what but sin could be the source of fear, obscuring God's creation? That's us, giving love the attributes of fear and of attack.
That last sentence in the COA version says, and what but guilt could be the source of fear, obscuring God's creation?
Oh, they changed it to sin in the FIP version.
Yeah. It's all right. Just wanted to bring that up.
Yeah. Let me just read that again.
Sure.
And what but guilt could be the source of fear, obscuring God's creation, giving love the attributes of fear and of attack? Okay. So remembering the source of fear, just need to stop here for a second. Yeah.
Sure.
The source of fear is the belief in sin, which is the belief in separation. That produces guilt,
Right.
which is projected outwards, of
Mm-hmm.
course. And then that guilt produces the fear of punishment. That's what fear is.
Mm-hmm.
There could be no fear. We wouldn't even know what fear was. We would laugh
Mm-hmm.
at the idea of fear if we didn't believe that we were guilty and therefore deserving of punishment.
That's right. At God's hands. Yeah,
Oh, that's crazy stuff, isn't it?
it is. It is. And let's just
Insanity.
and remember, you guys, our home in God is pure peace, love. We are spirit. We're all one creation, and so let me remember. Okay, this is the idea of sin. It's the idea of separation, and the ego has us convinced that if this is true, then we are sin. What we are is sin. And sin is a state of guilt that deserves punishment by death. Guilt cannot be corrected. Sin is unpardonable, right? It just says even the Holy Spirit can't help you. You are sin and you are doomed to death. And so while you believe that this is you and you believe that the problems of this mythical me are true, this is what you're insisting upon. The reality of the gap. But in truth, remember that space-time gap and the body that arose from it was in response to a wish that could only occur in a dream. So this lesson is, remember everything in there, guys, good and negative, the body, its story, its special relationships, its goals and dreams or objectives. This, this has never occurred. This is the importance to come back to. This is an impossibility. Remember the word inconceivable. This is inconceivable to the mind of God, who is the only creator. So this is dream stuff. This is what a dreaming mind seems to be doing. But because it's a dream, it's not reality. It's never occurred. This is how important this lesson is. That watch everything just get swallowed up. But where are you? Still a mind in the mind of God, right? Still one with your Father. Still as He created you to be. Nothing has changed. Nothing has ever reduced you from what you are as the Christ or the Son of God. So none of these things could be possible. Attacks, guilt, suffering, punishment, death, fear, lack. We couldn't even sense any of those things if we didn't first believe we're a body. So it really comes back down to we are not the body. That's what needs to be truly forgiven. This thought, this very persistent but illusory thought that we're a body.
Yeah. Yeah. We're the spirit that God created.
Yeah.
That's our true identity.
That's right. We were created in God's image and likeness. God's not in man's image and likeness. The true man is God's image and likeness, and that's purely spiritual. Do you want to read the prayer?
Yeah, the prayer is, Father, I would not be insane today. I would not be afraid of love, nor seek for refuge in its opposite. For love can have no opposite. You are the source of everything there is. Everything good.
Yeah.
And everything that is remains with you and you with it.
Love has no opposite. There's something to meditate on. It's impossible that love, God, who is all in all, can have an opposite. It's impossible that God, who's omnipresent, could have some place carved out within himself where he is absent, where love is absent. There's no void in this perfect divine love. It is everywhere, omnipresent, right here where we are asserting itself. That's what we're awakening to.
Yeah. A couple of years ago, I had an insight, an experience, and I don't know if it's translatable, but I'll try, where I was going through a very difficult, challenging undoing of my perception. And it was the undoing of the last big vestiges of my desire, or the ego's desire, to feel unworthy. I would say it was the last big bit of feeling guilty, having that attraction to guilt. I was really, really in the midst of it. And then I realized that if I believed that I was sinful, of course, that's the only way I could be guilty, or feel guilt in any way, shape, or form, is if I believed in sin. And if I believed in sin, I must have also believe I am sin.
Mm-hmm.
You can't believe in sin and not have an unconscious belief that
Right.
you are sin, right?
Because only sin can look upon sin.
Only sin can look upon sin. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
And so in that insight that I had, I also got to see the next picture, which was that if I believe that I am sin, God is my enemy.
Mm-hmm. That's right.
And so are all my brothers and sisters.
Mm.
Because if all my brothers and sisters are the sons of God and sinless, and yet I believe I'm sinful,
Yeah.
they're my enemies.
Right.
And I have to protect and defend myself to the death
Mm-hmm.
to keep this false identity that believes it's sinful, guilty, and therefore deserving of punishment. I'm going to have to keep defending that identity to keep it secure.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Wow.
that's the insight.
Yeah.
I don't know if it makes any sense.
No, it does. It really does. It's one of those unconscious or out of our awareness beliefs that have to be running if we're following the logic of this. Yeah. Thanks, sis. Thank you.
Thank you. I'd like to share a couple of quotes here,
Sure.
which I found was very helpful for me. This first one's from chapter 19, section 2, paragraph 1. The Son of God, which is you, the Son of God can be mistaken. He can deceive himself. He can even turn the power of his mind against himself. But he cannot sin. There is nothing he can do that would really change his reality in any way, nor make him really guilty. So, that's a very powerful statement right out, is that we cannot sin. There's no such thing. We can imagine it, but we cannot sin. And if we could sin, God would be dead. Okay,
Yeah.
that's another thing I saw very clearly. And this second quote is from chapter 9, section 8, paragraph 10. I'm quoting from the FIP version of A Course in Miracles. To accept yourself as God created you cannot be arrogance, because it is the denial of arrogance. To accept your littleness, unworthiness, to accept your guilt, right, is arrogant, because it means that you believe your evaluation of yourself is truer than God's.
Yeah. That's a big one too, to really look at it, to sit to this the boast of the arrogance to say, look what we've done. Right? If this is real, that's our arrogance, that we've, destroyed God and created a different world, and we've got our own view of life and love, and wow, and we're destroying life, God who is life. Wow. Yeah, it's complete arrogance. It's the boastfulness of the ego. Thank God it's not true. But we need to recognize that we're truly, as we mythically me identified, it is a complete denial of God. Yeah. And then the more we experience holy relationship and the nature of God's will, holy loving, total grace, wanting only for our happiness, you get these influxes of God's love, and then the contrast to the recognition of what we're trying to do, slamming the door on God's face, trying to sever the relationship by trying to be something that you could never be. Boy, those have really brought me to my knees in tears and just remorse, right? Feeling remorse of, I don't want to do this to God any longer. I want to awaken from the dream. I can't, it's intolerable. But it needs the contrast. You need to feel God's love before you can feel bad about the ego's arrogance.
Well said. Thanks, sis.
Thank you. Those are great quotes. Do we want
Yes.
to put those anywhere, or do you want to make them available, or just mention them here?
Just mention them here, I think. I've given the reference to each one. Okay.
Okay.
So that was the lesson. Let me remember that there is no sin. Yeah. Thank you, beautiful family, for joining us.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thanks, sis. Thank you.
Thanks for helping to heal us too.
Right.
Without you, we couldn't heal.
I need these reminders. Yes. Thank you so much. We love you. Bye, everybody.
Bye.